All right. As is the custom, we begin every meeting that we have with a parak of Tehillim. Please join me in reciting the parak of Tehillim for Refuah Shlema, for all of those who are suffering from all ailments, from the coronavirus, of course, and may, with Hashem's help, may we continue flattening curve, fewer outbreaks, and may we all have a Refuah Shlema for our community, the broader world, as we move forward. Shamala Makim Kraticha Adonai Adonai Shima Bikoli Tiaz Necha Kashuvot the Kodach Adonai Im Avonot Tishmaria Adonai Mi Ya'amod Ki Imcha Selicha Liman Tivarei Kiviti Adonai Kivita Nafshi Velid Varo Hochalti Nafshi Ladonai Mishamrim Laboker Shomerim laboker, Yachel Yisrael al Adonai, Ki im Adonai Chesed, Ve'arbei imo fedut, V'hu Yifted Yisrael, Mikol Avonotav. Rabbi Kraus.
Thank you, Rabbi Kroll. Erev Tov to all. Hope you're doing well. As Rabbi Kroll said, this is the last town hall of our school year. We will definitely meet again. We have plenty of information to continue to share with you as that is updated. So we will definitely meet over the summer, although we don't have a regular schedule for that yet. But actually we wanted to do something that I think is consistent with what we believe in a couple of ways. Number one, to have a brief evening of Hakarat HaTov. Our theme of the year in the Academy is Ba'u Sha'arav B'Todah, but the value of Hakarat HaTov is something that we always try to model and teach our students. And we also wanted tonight to let our students speak. As a student-centered institution, we certainly always want to hear their voices. And we thought that we would try to express that Hakarat HaTov tonight through the words of our students. So you're going to be hearing from students in every department as we express Hakarat HaTov, tribute to those who really deserve that from within our community and beyond. And then we will ask Dr. Rocker to give us some summer tips as we close out this season. So I'm going to start with Haley Wildman, our ELC student Haley Wildman, who's going to give the first tribute of the night. She is here. Hold on one second, Haley, until they see you. Much better than seeing me. Go ahead whenever you're ready, Haley.
We were preparing to talk about the healthcare workers and thank them. So I want to say thank you to the healthcare workers. They save people's lives. They, especially the first responders, people work in hospitals, and they have a special symbol. It's very loud. I hear it a lot in my neighborhood.
That's great.
Thank you, Haley. That was wonderful. Thank you, Haley, for representing the whole ELC in that beautiful tribute to healthcare workers. And we would now like to ask Matan Hakimi to represent our lower school and to say a few words of hello. Hi, Matan. How are you?
Thank you to all the volunteers that serve our SAR community in so many different ways. This year, volunteers went beyond helping at the book fair and the Chesed tent. A special thank you to the volunteers that played a vital role in the Chesed committee and the volunteers that answered calls on the hotline. Thank you to the medical and mental health advisory groups, the Parent Association, and the volunteers that offered Zoom fitness sessions, bedtime stories, and fun cooking demos. Everyone was busy trying to reorganize their homes into a classroom, an office, and a full-time restaurant. Yet these volunteers went above and beyond. They devoted the time and energy to strengthen and support the entire SAR community. Thank you so much, volunteers.
Thank you, Matan. Wonderful. Thank you, Matan. We have a graduating 8th grader, David Barkas. Mazal tov on your upcoming graduation, and thank you for representing our middle school tonight.
The past few months have been crazy. With virtual learning and social distancing, it hasn't been easy for anyone. This year in English, we read the book Night, a Holocaust book that follows the story of Elie Wiesel. Throughout the book, Ellie would doubt God and question his faith, and there were some points in the book where Ellie felt as if the world was against him. Despite all that had happened to him, he still felt obligated to praise Hashem and to be thankful for all that has been done for him. My teacher once told me that in times like these, you have to find the silver linings so you can make sense of what's happening around us. I'm ending my time off in the academy better than I could have hoped for, simply because of perspective. When you focus yourself only to see the good things around you, you tend to appreciate them more. Because Ellie was able to find gratitude in a time when no one else was able to, so too we should find gratitude all the time. My teachers have played such a huge role in the past 3 months, and they've done so much for me. The debate team was canceled after March 3rd, but since my teachers saw how dedicated we were, they decided to make it up to us by having a Zoom debate. We needed an extra study period for Gemara, so our teacher decided to set up a time after school for the whole class to join just to study. The list of extra acts of kindness goes on, and I'm so grateful. I only managed to get through the last part of the year because my teachers were there for me when I needed help in class or if I just wanted to talk. While this sounds like only my experience in middle school, I know that there are stories like this throughout the academy, stories where teachers are doing all that they can to make virtual learning engaging and meaningful. At first, virtual learning seemed impossible for the lower grades in the academy, but because of our amazing teachers, it became a reality. Thank you so much, and I hope I can thank you in person soon.
Erev Tov, good evening, everyone. Haley, Matan, David, that was awesome. Kol hakavod to you for what you said and for having the courage to stand up and say it. I think that you put into words something that we're all feeling. So just want to express on behalf of the high school team as well, who I'll introduce in a moment, but also thanks to the healthcare workers, volunteers, teachers of SAR Academy. And I am thrilled and proud to introduce our incoming leaders of our student government, rising seniors for next year, Lucy Hecht, followed by Akiva Kroll, who I'll introduce in a few moments. But first, let's see, we're going to go with Akiva first. It is my pleasure to introduce one of our incoming presidents, Akiva Kroll.
Thank you, Rabbi Hartstark. Throughout the constant uncertainty and uneasiness, the student body of the high school has noticed how much time and effort goes into making Zoom school, or as we like to call it, Hive Live, feel as normal as possible. On behalf of the students at SAR High School, Lucy and I would like to thank the Board of Trustees and community leaders led by Mr. Jack Bendheim for their support, trust, and vision, always wanting to provide the best Jewish education for everyone under all circumstances. They worked hard throughout the entire year, and now we especially would like to recognize their efforts during these challenging times. We were able to continue learning without a hitch as we transitioned online, and we know that there's so much more planning that goes on behind the scenes in order to get us back in school in September. Given the amount of time so many of our school lay leaders spend supporting and working on our school's needs, it is hard to believe that they actually all have important jobs outside of dedication to SAR. And once again, we thank you for the time and effort you invest for us students to make us feel like we're taken care of.
Akiva, thank you. Thank you very much. And it is my pleasure now to introduce Lucy Hecht, who will express some gratitude on all of our behalf to our high school staff, faculty, teachers. Lucy.
Thank you. Piggybacking on what Akiva said, we also recognize the efforts that our teachers have been putting into school every single day to make online school seem even close to normal. Every morning at 9 o'clock, there's optional davening with Rabbi Ney, Dr. Steinberg, and Rabbi Bannett, that try to make a sense of B'tzibor for people who prefer davening among their peers. Also, with co-curriculars and clubs canceled, the student activities team has made sure that activity period, a period we would have every other week in school where clubs would meet, remains on our schedule. Every other Wednesday during lunch, clubs meet up on Zoom, and other teachers make their Zoom room available for kids to drop by with questions, concerns, comments, and just to schmooze. The SAR teachers have always been there for us in high school, and this has not changed as we transitioned online to Hive Live. Whether we email them with questions or concerns or set up a time to meet with them over Zoom, our teachers have remained invested in our success, and we would like to thank you for that today.
Thank you, Lucy. Rabbi Krauss.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Lucy and Akiva, David, Matan, and Haley. Thank you again for representing so many of us and expressing our Hakarat HaTov to so many people. Dr. Rocker, I think you're here. We were looking for you in the waiting room. We couldn't find you, but we do believe that you're here now. And I want to just open by saying you have been with us throughout. I think, from that first week in March, you were with us, consulting with us privately, and then becoming the public medical face, together with the medical team, together with the whole medical team that I know that you often consult with. And I know that actually other schools have asked you to consult with them after hearing about your wisdom that everyone heard here. So we want to really thank you for always taking our calls, always being on these meetings. And then we know that there's a lot of follow-up work that comes from that, because then everyone wants to ask you individual questions. And we know that you've always been gracious with that. So thank you for leading the way. We will definitely continue to speak. So this is not goodbye, but as we finish our last couple of days of school, on behalf of the entire community, I wanted to thank you for being such a steady force for us and giving us such great, calm, and strong guidance over the last couple of months. And we're also, of course, looking for that as we go into summer. So many open questions that so many of us have, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. So first of all, in the spirit of what you guys are doing, I just also want to thank the medical team, those who supported the hotline. They did an amazing job. In the first few weeks, there were dozens of calls a day, and they were on constantly, and the medical team was giving backup support. So thank you guys completely and wholly. So giving an update of what's going on in the world of COVID, there is not a huge difference from last 2 weeks. I think what everyone was anticipating was after many of these rallies and gatherings, we'd probably see a spike. And the answer is yes, but that spike is not going to come like a few days later, probably going to come 2 to 3 weeks later. So we are seeing a little bit of an uptick. I think we are all ready to see a little bit of a larger uptick of the next week or two. So I'm a pediatric ER doctor. In the pediatric ER, we are now seeing what we normally see in the summer. We are seeing lacerations, we are seeing bumps on the head, we are seeing broken bones. So it's sad to say, but that's a good sign. What I mean by that is that people are out and about and enjoying themselves outside, which is great. And unfortunately, they're getting hurt like kids do. But it obviously is things that we can take care of, and they do well. But in that spirit, I just want to remind everyone that we still are in a COVID era, and we can't forget that. So gathering and being together is fine with the social distancing and following the same parameters. And when you go someday, I've been to Central Park once, and when I went there like a week or so ago, really there were pods of people several feet apart. My son rode his bike by there the other day, and he said it was just an amorphous mass of people. So clearly people are thinking that this is done, but it's not. And I think what we have to remind ourselves is May 2nd was the first day New York really saw a serious case of COVID. And within 4 weeks, it overwhelmed us. We went from 1 hospitalization in all of New York to our hospital system in 1. We had 530 admissions, and that's just an area of Long Island and Queens. So it grew extremely rapidly. So we still give a lot of people, just warn people to be cautious. And some of the behaviors that we're seeing, the bars are open, people are able to drink outdoors. There's a lot of sort of asinine behavior about people just really ignoring social distancing and just wearing masks and all that. Not wearing masks. We have to be very careful. So I know people want to embrace the summer, want to embrace the outdoors, and I think that's great. Be thoughtful about how it's done. I just also want to talk about how the medical committee is mostly with the help of her and Tina Lerner, as well as the staff at SAR, will be looking at the protocols that SAR will be instituting for opening up in the summer. We've looked at things about graduation. We looked at things about the camp. And we are trying to get up-to-date information from the CDC, from the Department of Health, to make sure that everything that is done in a thoughtful, reasonable, and realistic fashion. And so far, things are good, but again, we're going to be learning as things move along. Right now, we're at a low, insofar as there aren't that many cases coming out of New York every day. We all anticipate that to go up a little bit in the near future. And so then, based upon that, our recommendations are going to be changing. I think that's probably it. There'll probably be some questions coming on that I'll look at.
One question, Josh, about mask and 6 foot distance. People are, as people are going out and joining programs, they're trying to understand, is it mask and 6 foot distance? Is it mask instead of 6 foot distance? How do you advise people on that question in terms of both the mask and the 6 feet?
Right, so what the recommendations are, where we say the concern is if you are within 6 feet without masks and for greater than 15 minutes. So if you are hanging out, what we don't want people to be like, oh, I'm wearing a mask, so now I can get 1 foot away from each other. So in theory, if your encounter is going to be short, let's go that way. In regards to, if you're going to be together and you are, 10 feet apart and it's going to be a 10, 15-minute thing, I think it's probably fine to be without masks based upon the recommendations. However, if it's going to be hours, I actually think that, wearing a mask is probably safer at that point. But what is also important is, and I've had family gatherings, right? I went to go see my parents, we distanced, but what I also noticed, and this is where the practicality steps in, is someone steps up, oh, have you seen this on my phone? Do you want a bite of this? And then all of a sudden, you're a lot closer than the 6 feet. It may only be for 30 seconds, not a big issue, but when you're hanging out, and especially for a longer period of times, things just blur. People start acting a little bit more comfortable and they start, getting closer to each other. So just the mask is 100% overcautious if you are maintaining, the distance, but practically, I think oftentimes that distance gets broken down. So that's sort of my recommendation there.
Okay, can you talk about the pool?
I think the issue with the pool is less the water and it's more the interaction with people. So if you are hanging out and, within 6 feet, then that's the issue. So, going into a pool and social distancing there, swimming laps with other people around, no problem. Jumping off the board, throwing a football, all those things, no problems there. It's just when you're hanging out really close distances to each other, that's the issue.
Blowing in somebody else's car?
That's not 6 feet unless they got a stretch limo.
Okay. Okay.
But if they have one of those limos with a pool in it,
then we're good.
then you're probably good.
I think someone's asking about guidance for a backyard camp. If families are organizing small backyard camps, 4 or 5 kids, again, I know as we say, but.
This gets to the same question about the car as well. If you have designated a family that is this is our family, and we know what their behavior is, and we are basically one, then you've sort of just expanded your pool of what a family is. But then you just have to be careful about including many families in that pool. And if you're including that family, then you're including the people that family is including. So if you guys have a close family and they are your neighbors and their kids are your kids' age, that may be an okay thing. Listen, we used to say if they're healthcare workers, they're at the greatest risks. The reality is I'm not sure that's the case because healthcare workers are taking extra steps when they're at work. And we've seen that there hasn't been a significant increase of COVID cases within healthcare workers because they gown, mask, and glove and wash after every single patient. So that, even though would seem to be at the highest risk, because of the precautions, it carries very little risk. So it's kind of know what those family members do. But again, this is all a calculation. Every time you do something that expands your world, that increases your risks, increases your odds. And so that means the next time you visit grandma, grandpa, aunt, or uncle, that means that risk is a little bit higher as well. So these things can be done. It's all a calculation, but you have to be thoughtful that it increases your risk with everything you do.
Question about school buses that are going to camp. So kids, again, we're talking about, I mean, we talked about cars before, you were pretty clear, but school buses that take kids to camp? Public buses?
So again, 6 foot, 15 minutes, it's the same rules. And it's, you know, if you just replace the device or the media, being it water, pool, bus, subway, it doesn't really matter. If you can maintain that distance and maintain the rules, great. You know, if you can't, not so great.
Fair. Is it safe to go to the dentist?
For you or the dentist? So, you know, I believe dentists are opening up, and certainly for emergency situations. So certainly that's I mean, dentists are actually at one of the highest risk of any medical or non-medical group, because they have, the main thing is if you suction, that aerosolizes, and then that puts them at risk. So certainly if you are concerned with yourself having a fever, you know, like cough, not feeling well, you are putting the dentist at risk. But we also know that potentially you could be asymptomatic or not having any symptoms, and eventually be COVID positive. So again, probably much more risk. It's much more risky for the dentist than it is for you.
Conversation about shields versus masks, shields with masks, shields instead of masks, shields being more comfortable with masks, etc.
So shields are good for you insofar as a mask does not cover the eyes. We're learning that the mouth is not so much of a portal of entry for the virus. It's much more the nose and the eyes. So if you wear a mask, certainly if you wear a mask like to here, like a lot of people do, that serves virtually no purpose of protecting you. It helps others if you are coughing or talking, but if you sneeze, that doesn't help at all. So if you have a shield which covers the eyes and the mouth, it's fine. But if you're in conversation, we're talking about viruses that are very, very small particles and can certainly go around. And so the mask is a little bit more protective of the nose, and the shield if you're in close contact. But if you're, you know, further distance, a shield is good as well.
Okay,
It protects the eyes, which the mask does not.
we're going to come back to a question in a second, but there's somebody at your door, Dr. Rocker. Can you go down to your door for a moment? And you'll come right back to us?
Okay.
Right back. It's important. I wouldn't ask you if it wasn't important. So if you could just go to your door, we'd appreciate that. Thank you, Dr. Rocker. Oh, look what we found. We got a student council president.
And his father. Put it on the floor. You're on the Zoom. You're on the Zoom right now. You're on the Zoom right now.
Hey, how are you? Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rocker.
Thank you. I gotta go.
Yeah, you're running a press conference upstairs. Don't do that.
Okay, that was from all of you to thank Dr. Rocker for all of his time. Rabbi Kroll, thanks for the delivery.
Got to get back in the car.
President, thanks for the delivery. Where'd he go?
We're going home to go watch the rest of the press conference. We're only a couple blocks away from here.
Ah, thanks. What are you leaving in the middle of a conference for? The dog liked it too.
Hi.
Thank you very much. We're going to keep on talking to you. This tribute is for you. Please to pay attention to your screen. Really, really, really grateful to you from all the kids at SAR. Thank you very much. Please.
Well, thank you guys very, very much.
Thank you for caring about us, Dr. Rocker.
Thank you, Dr. Rocker.
Thank you, Dr. Rocker.
Thank you, Dr. Rocker. Incredible, everything that you've done for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rocker. I love you, Dr. Rocker. For helping us stay healthy and safe. Thank you so much, Dr. Rocker, for keeping us safe. My mom says you're the best.
ורק איתך לא יכול בלי. תודה לך על חושך ועל האור הטוב. תודה לך, אתה תמיד קרוב. תודה לך על שמש בשמיים בכל יום. על אהבה המלווה לכל מקום. תודה לך.
Thank you very much. I'm now fully read. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Rocker. Thank you very much. And again, thank you to all. Of course, we will continue to provide updates in writing and in this forum over the course of the summer. We obviously have a lot of planning to do, but we hope to be able to provide you with as much detailed information as it exists, as it changes, so that you can be prepared for September. This has been an incredible forum, a part of an incredible community, and we are so grateful to all of you. Rabbi Hartstark, would you like to have the last word?
Just to express the same Hakarat Tov to everyone in the community. This has been, as Rabbi Krauss said, an incredible forum and a way not only to provide information, but to create community. We're thankful to you for the support and the strength that we all get from each other. Wishing everyone a summer of good health, and of course, look forward to being in touch, as we certainly will in the coming weeks. Thank you as well to Dr. Rocker, just to echo on my own, for myself and for the entire high school community as well. We're really grateful to you for everything. Thank you, everybody.